It is a land of heroes past A people who have been tortured by slavery, injured by colonialism, toughened by civil war and several ethnic clashes, are afflicted by chronic corruption and marked by severe religious intolerance, as well as decadent physical, educational, socio-political, and economic infrastructures over several decades. But the good thing is Nigeria has survived triumphantly over all the odds thus far. Nigeria is a nation that is built on hope in God, endowed with abundant resources, natural and human. It is prodigious in size. It is the largest concentration of the black race. It is a nation in genuine need of leadership, a nation in the threshold of uncertainty, a nation at the precipice of greatness or disintegration, development or backwardness, advancement or retrogression. And what Nigerians as a collective do the years and months between now, 2015 and 2020, will be imminent and crucial in determining its fate and future. Whether this nation will be great or small, or disintegrate or die. Love, honesty, unity, and patriotism are undoubtedly paramount values and vehicles that are pertinent to transporting Nigeria from its present challenges, difficulties, and problems to freedom and greatness. And the challenge posed is to every Nigerian, great or small, home or abroad. Having said so much about Nigeria, let us move on to the terms economic and growth. Economic, quite simply, refers to the processes of producing goods and services, buying and selling, as well as exports, imports, and so on. While the last term in our topic, growth, refers to increase, to enlargement, to development, etc., and so on. If I move on to the introduction, I want to appreciate the people behind the performances who have witnessed the first very cultural display, and the second performance, which was an eloquent exposition of the functions of the National Council for Arts and Culture. The performances could have been better appreciated. The lighting and the sound was good enough. I want to appeal that when you are doing a performance, you want to get involved in performance, please reach out to us. It is what we have been trained to do, and for over 30, 40 years, I've been in the Department of General and Performance. I'm sure you have one or two days you can benefit from our involvement. Introduction. Having gone with the minutes of the key terms in our topic, what are the key issues that we are here to discuss today? And then the challenge before us in this paper is twofold. First is the need to explain why and how enhancement of arts and culture and crafts is essential and important to sustaining Nigeria's economic growth or development. The second is to discuss common ways and means, that is strategies, through which the nation's arts and crafts can be enhanced towards achieving sustainable economic growth. With regards to the first consideration, so much has already been said in various fora in advocacy towards enhancing, repositioning, or retooling the nation's arts and crafts and making them a springboard for addressing the nation's diverse development and economic challenges. Arts, crafts,
which is the bottom line of all that we shall be discussing now. Exposition on development and culture. The beneficial importance of development as a socio-political and economic phenomenon has been receiving increasing attention over the ages. However, at no time previously has development been accorded more attention than in the contemporary, that is, the 21st century. This is because of the increased awareness of development's potentials in enhancing the environment, that is our superstructure, the amenities and facilities of our living, our infrastructure, both of which culminate in influencing the conditions and ways in which we live, which is our culture. Culture is the sum total of all that is in our environment and the way we live, the way we react to them, the way we utilize them, and the end and the quantity of man's life is synchronously equitable to the degree of development. It is arguable that the people who are indifferent or passive about development are obviously oblivious of its capacity or civilized, and they would most likely be backward and underdeveloped. On the definition of development that has been advanced by Ncac, and we know we are here, OR 2011, which says that economic development, looking at development from the economic angle or perspective, economic development, because we're focusing on the economy today, our topic is looking at economic growth. And so we're looking at development from the economic angle, and in Ncac, Tony, and if you know we are here at AU, colleagues of mine at the University of Benin, they have been cultural transformation and manufacturing. This definition concisely and succinctly represents our perception of the concept of development. And so we're going to anchor on the people and societies everywhere are engaged and are engaging in the development dialogue and case. It is this case for development and is precisely the impetus and explore ways and means in which Nigeria's arts and crafts can be channeled so as to propel and enhance the nation's natural, economic, social, political development. This speaker will not provide all the answers, but it is this concern which is fairly guided. People by themselves are products of culture. As we are here, we are products of various cultures. The people, when you talk about culture, so when we're talking about culture, it is not an amorphous term. It has the that you have is from a culture. This wine before us is from a culture. Either it's made here in Nigeria, from Italy, from somewhere, it represents a culture. Everything has a cultural mark and identification. In other words, the arts and crafts system, the works produced by the people, as well as the great majority of those who patronize, appreciate such works, are from a cultural framework. Culture is therefore the core of germane to facilitating our purpose and goals as we proceed in this discourse. What is meant by culture? Thank you, sir. The term culture, according to Hartley, also affirms that culture depends mostly on who is offering the definition. Hartley went further to state that culture is the sphere of reproduction, not of goods, but of life. Furthermore, Oluwabafemi and Ahmed Yerima, 2011, in a co-edited book, opined that culture reflects, represents,
and refracts life and society in its productive, distributive, and exchange imperatives. Whereas the definition by Hartley is rather imprecise as to the content of culture, reproduction not of goods but of life, as he told us. The definition by Obafemi and Yerima clearly identifies 3 actionable activities that are executed through culture, as well as 3 clear ramifications or domains that are embedded in culture, in which these actionable activities are performed. The 3 actionable activities that were identified by the authors are reflection, representation, and refraction. Everyone in the ministry will know all that you are doing. You are representing culture, you are reflecting culture, you are refracting culture. These are the activities performed by culture in life and society. The definition also further specifies the nature of these actions which are carried out distinctly as productive, they are distributive, and they are exchange-oriented. All cultural works, they are productive, they are distributive, and they are exchange-oriented. There's a character of the works of arts and crafts. Everything that you do, so either it has a utilitarian value, it has some exchange value, it has a distributive value, productive value. Though considerable light has been shed on the nature and meaning of culture by Hartley, Obafemi, and Yerima, there are still gaps and some missing links as to who in life and society actually does the reflection, the representation, and refraction, and how they actually translate into productive, distributive, and the conventions, the processes of determining law and order, loyalty and illegality, how they reward loyalty, how they punish offenders, how they do their business, how they create wealth, and so forth and so on. Culture, according to Dominic, subsumes evil, the assumptions of the people concerning their spaces, our spaces, where you come from, their origins, their past, their ancestral lineages, their capacities and potentials, as well as their fears, their failures, and other material or non-material cultural components. We shall take 2 more definitions that elaborate on the relationship between culture and economics. Let us begin with the one by Ncac and Ncac, who have proposed the concept of cultural industry. They postulated that popular culture is akin to a factory producing standardized cultural goods through film. You saw the short performance. Film. The Nigerian Nollywood is a cultural industry. I'm able to tell you in a study that was carried out by Obafemi in 2011, he was able to tell us that the Nigerian Nollywood brings to this humble country over 200 million naira per annum. That is the product of culture. If you cross to India, Bollywood, if you cross to America, USA, you talk about Hollywood. Hollywood brings Hollywood. As you see in the paper, we are coming to a lot of wealth to America. Culture is very significant. Culture is the sum total of our existence. It is the sum total. The proponents of the concept of cultural industry postulated that popular culture is akin to a factory producing cultural goods through film, through radio, and magazines, in order to manipulate the masses into passivity, the easy pleasures of life, available through consumption of popular culture, make people docile and content no matter how difficult their economic circumstances are. This is a postulation of Ncac and Ncac. The authors are hereby saying, expressing the potential of the cultural industry The others are highlighting the potential of the cultural industry in producing cultural entertainment, enlightenment, and education through the media. Though they portray that the media has an emasculatory power over mental consciousness, which can make people docile, passive, and content in the face of harsh economic realities. This is a reality that we must take note of. The media is both good and bad. The media, a lot of us today, the culture where the media, talking about television, talking about film, talking about radio, talking about the print media and the broadcast media. The media in that society, a lot of people who are there are more broad-minded, more enlightened. And so they are able to sift what to receive from the media and what to discard. But a lot of us just take hook, line, and sinker all that the media has to live, and it's very dangerous. The media is like a big basket containing a variety of goods, and not everything that they need may be good enough for you. We see, of course, the very bad aspect of it today, where you have school children, under-age children, through as easy as your phone, you watch pornography and all kinds of things that are immoral and actually distasteful. That is what these authors are telling us, that we should take the media with a pinch of salt and be able to take what we want and discard what is not necessary, what is not good for us. The last definition, which is more of a composition or a compilation of what comprises the cultural industry and the creative industry, is by Obafemi, 2002, page 12, who cited Hartley, 2002, page 44, that the following have been identified by the government of the United Kingdom as belonging to the creative industry. That's culture. They are listed: advertising, architecture, arts, antiques, markets, crafts, designer fashion, film, interactive leisure, software, that's like video games, music, performing arts, literature, television, and radio. In addition, the following are closely related to the cultural industry. They are heritage, hospitality, museums, and galleries, sport, and tourism. The implication of what we are taking thus far of culture is that it is a very wide area with numerous endowments and enormous potentials. And a nation in need of development, such as Nigeria, should avidly and ardently explore how to harness the abundant development opportunities that are embedded in the cultural sector. Section A. Importance of arts and crafts and their potential to contribute to sustainable national growth. This actually brings us to the point where we made a detour into defining development and culture, which is the key role that arts, crafts, and culture have played in the sustainable development of nations. This will undoubtedly help us in highlighting why and how the enhancement of the arts and crafts sector is paramount, essential, and is important to sustaining Nigeria's economic growth or development. Obafemi, 2012, has expressed the viewpoint in the faculty of arts lecture in the University of Benin that far less endowed nations of the world, like Ghana and Singapore, are that culture provides, especially in a culturally diversified and ebullient nation like Nigeria. Obafemi 2012 is 12. The significant role of arts and crafts, which are key components in the cultural industry, the creative industry, the sustainable development of nations can be inferred from these views propounded by Obafemi in the paper. In our paper, similarly, on arts, theatre, and tourism development by myself, Diaconary 2011, pages 152 to 157, I stated that theatre, a key component of performing arts and visual arts in culture, has through the ages from Greece to Rome, Italy, Spain, England, France, Germany, America, India, Russia, Africa, if you do theatre history, you will see what I'm saying, has been a major source of job creation, a local foreign exchange earner, as well as a socio-psychological tool for popularizing official policies of government, public policies, for sensitizing, conscientizing, and mobilizing social groups, for propagating political ideas, such as Nyere's, Julius Nyere's Unjama agricultural policy in Tanzania, and certainly socio-political disputes, such as the In Place of War, psycho-social therapeutic projects, which are online. I also observed in that paper that most tourism schemes and projects are centered on and propelled by arts, crafts, and other cultural, natural endowments around the world. Tourism was defined in that paper as travel for recreational, leisure, or business purposes made by people outside their usual environment for not less than 24 hours and not exceeding one consecutive year. Statistics about tourism given in the paper show that tourism had become a major and popular global phenomenon. For instance, in 2008 alone, the United States received a total of 57 million international tourists and earned $110 billion through tourism. Spain received a total of 57.2 million international tourists and earned $61.6 billion through tourism. France received a total of 79.2 million international tourists and earned $53.6 billion through tourism. The table is in the book, the journal. If you have it, you go through. I wanted to make copies. I may do for the HOD. The figures are all there for several countries. Multi-billion dollars earned through international tourism. Nigeria can do the same as we develop and enhance our arts and crafts and the cultural industry at large. It's precisely this insightful realization, recognition of the enormous potential of the arts, crafts, and the cultural industry that has propelled the unrelenting call by the management and staff of the National Council of Arts and Culture, as well as several scholars and other well-meaning Nigerians, that the arts, crafts, cultural sector be revisited and exploited in the quest for the nation's development. I am aware that Dr. Sule Bello, at the Investment Forum of the second edition of the African Arts and Crafts Expo in June 2009, made this call. According to him, the need to base our economic and industrial development on our indigenous cultural industries over time is stressed in different forums. He went further to state that the central objectives of this course is to espouse creative initiatives and innovative insights into the challenges and opportunities that are found in our environment. With respect to sustenance, Professor Shia at that same forum did urge government, as a follow-up to the call made by Dr. Suleiman, urged that government sustainable national growth. Enhance arts culture, arts crafts, and sculpture so as to contribute to sustainable national growth. On the question of how and what should be done to enhance the nation's arts and crafts so as to make them contribute meaningfully to sustainable national growth, we shall begin with the concept of rebranding, which was propounded and popularized by the late legendary DG of NAFTA, Professor Dora Akin-Yuli. For the late DG, rebranding was a total concept, a complete overhaul, a total transformation, and the perfect solution to Nigeria's endemic and perennial socio-economic, political, and development challenges. In this concept of rebranding, it is not a renovation or a rehabilitation, but a recreation, a regeneration or renewal. To use a vehicle's particulars or driver's license as examples, when an old issue expires, it becomes moribund, obsolete, and completely useless. In the concept of rebranding, the old Nigeria was to expire, to become moribund and obsolete. However, on application and payment of the stipulated charges, a brand new vehicle's particulars or driver's license is issued. We shall look at the rebranding stroke change phenomenon with regards to how it can apply and enhance specific levels and processes in the arts and crafts cultural sector in relation to facilitating sustainable national economic growth. Rebranding change in the product. The works of crafts and arts and crafts as a culture. Ron Willingham, an American, 1984, page 6, articulates 4 processes in his famous secret formula for tripling your sales power. The first is the knowledge of the potential of your product. In the performance of the arts and crafts subsector is to be enhanced, the products of the sector must be critically reviewed to ensure good quality standards that can make them compare and compete favorably with their counterparts far and wide. Brother must explain this. The first thing, we're talking about repositioning, we're talking about enhancing, retooling the arts and crafts sector. And I'm proposing here to the controllers, the management of the NCAC, that the first thing is to look at the products of the subsector. These are our representatives. They are our ambassadors. It is what we produce. It is what we give out. This is what will represent us. They tell volumes about us who we are. The first thing is to begin with the product. As I said, Ron Willingham, an American expert in the economic issues, has proposed that the first thing to consider when you are trying to enhance your productivity and your marketing capacity is to revisit your product. And I'm proposing that everyone who's involved in the arts and crafts industry should seriously begin to look at what they are doing and how to improve upon it, how to enhance it, so that these products can begin to give us a proper, a fair representation within and outside the shores of this country. Arts and crafts can be divided into traditional and modern. The traditional crafts can further be subdivided into 2 categories: utility and arts crafts. Utility crafts include cloths, farming implements, utensils, drinking pots, building construction materials like ceilings, pillars, roofing materials, furniture, water transportation and fishing vehicles. You cables all that you have, they are cultural. If you go to agriculture, these materials are different. They are representatives of their various cultures. And fishing vehicles, tools, and scraps, on the other hand, refers to wooden, plastic, metal ornaments, decorations, jewelry, footwear, leather belts, decorative wood carvings, etc. Require this to fit into and operate in the 21st century arts industry effectively. Ghana, Singapore, France, etc. provide lessons on the need by government to support the training of arts and cultural skills men, artists, and to provide them with the necessary financial, infrastructural, technological, and conducive environment and tools to practice and to excel. According to Riviera's recommendation in his paper, government should offer favorable business conditions, tax holidays, import duty relief, and tariff protection in accordance with the Income Tax Relief Act. This should be complemented with the provision of potable water, good accessible roads, steady power supply, and good distribution network for the finished products. Modern artists and craftsmen must imbibe what has been termed the achievement drive. Achievement drive. David C. McLellan of the Harvard University, who has devoted much of his time to study the sales power formula, is quoted by Ron Willingham as advocating that achievement drive is the multiplier of all your other skills and abilities as a manufacturer, entrepreneur, or a marketing salesman. According to Ron Willingham, achievement drive is the multiplier. And he says by this, I mean that when you add your product knowledge, your sales know-how, and your persuasive ability, you then multiply these three by your achievement drive to arrive at your sales power. Without gainsaying, arts and craftsmen in general must strive to acquire basic management training. The patronizers of arts and crafts, mostly, usually the Nigerian people, you and I. What should we do in terms of rebranding and changing our attitude and our reaction to our arts and crafts? Expectedly, the majority of consumers of the nation's arts and crafts are the Nigerian people. If Nigerians could change their perceptions and approach to politics, they can also change it to homemade goods in the arts and crafts sector. As the Review 2009, page 14, has noted, the colonial experience, I want us to listen to this as I close. The colonial experience had produced effects on the Nigerian society, some good and some bad. I'm quoting him. The greatest harm that was done by the colonial occupation of Nigeria was the undermining of the confidence of the people of this nation in their own culture and in their institutions. Oyelola, 1981, page 1, re-echoed this observation. It became a mark of prestige for Nigerians to dress in European style and to acquire possessions which came from overseas. Up to today, we delight in doing this. Financial resources of the sector go to medical facilities in Europe and India. This is infinitesimal medical issues, such as periodontitis and pilates, when we have dentists, physiotherapists, masseurs, even well-trained ones all around us who can effectively handle such cases. We are the market, a near dumping ground for all categories of foreign goods, even when some local equivalents can compete favorably or even do better. Nigerians have got to be patriotic. We must learn to love what is Nigeria, significantly and foremostly because it is what is ours and what we can truly call our own. In another dimension, it is not possible for anyone to give what he clearly does not have. Given the alarming and chronic poverty, the hardship and unemployment which have for some time engulfed this country, many Nigerian citizens, many Nigerians have continued to scale down Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs until eventually only the barest of needs are accommodated by them. A people without buying or purchasing power can only be a burden and a source of discouragement to any burdened economic institution. That is the truth of the matter. Let us join hands with the president, whom we hope is serious to alienate corruption, the canker the pain of our country, so that the volume of wealth generated in this country from the various subsectors will be distributed equitably and fairly to all Nigerians, irrespective of their tribe or creed or religion. We have in this paper reiterated and stressed the call being made by and from various sectors of the Nigerian nation for the potentials of the arts and crafts cultural subsector to be revisited, repositioned, so as to contribute to employment, income generation, and sustainable growth of the nation. The roles of the artists, the arts and crafts practitioners, the government, the product, and the people, the major consumers of the nation's arts and crafts, can and should play, were also enumerated and discussed. We are thus optimistic that as the Council for Arts and Culture continues to provide the forum for promoting and projecting these issues, and then responses are given to recommendations and suggestions made by these scholars and discussants, by the government and other stakeholders, no matter how long or how slowly, one day the arts and crafts subsector of our nation's cultural sector shall rise up and fulfill the dreams of becoming a vibrant sector, making significant contributions to the sustainable growth and development of this nation. Thank you.
I want to, on behalf of other, I'm not giving vote of thanks though. I want to thank you very much for this sound lecture. And if not for the reason of time, I would have called for questions and contribution. But right away, I want to mention, as the guest lecturer did say, that some other time that the artists and craftsmen should be invited. I just want to mention that out there we are having representative of Heritage Art Gallery with some of their arts and craft work being exhibited out there. And I'm using this medium to encourage every one of us that as we are leaving, we just go around and take a look at the prices and see that which we can purchase, and that which we don't have the money to buy now, we make an arrangement with the organization and arrange how to convey it when the money is being paid. We know every business now is on.
With all due respect to my DG, ably represented here by Mrs. Ichaba, Director, Management Staff, we thank you giving this. I give you my respect. My guest lecturer, I will not only thank you for the speech, but I will also thank you for your previous relationship with NCAC and national office, coming around, giving our staff better orientation about the values and concepts of African culture, and to my distinguished honorable, once the soldier is soldier, once the honorable is honorable, you remain honorable whether in the past or the present. I thank you. I thank my colleagues of Holy and High. For the people I will thank most are the ones who are future leaders tomorrow. Those ones. Before I give my vote of thanks, or I conclude it, the daily representative, please permit me to say this, to ask the students if they have one or two questions for the guest speaker. If you don't have, okay, but we are the ones we are recognizing here, because the lecture is actually for you. Most of us, they learn fast as a learning is going away, but you have potential for learning. So please, if you have your question to ask, you can ask them if I give my vote of time. My guest speaker, the students said they don't have any question. So, but that does not mean that you are free from being asked questions, because I'm going to make copies of your paper and give it to them. So in the future, don't be surprised through us, they will ask me a few questions and through your email. Yes, thank you very much.
And about the Department of DNRs.
Yes, okay, yeah, they get to know that. So on that note, my DG, every representative, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough because the process of this NCAC at the General Office, NCAC at the General Office started it from 5 months ago. And in all fairness, we've almost lost hope of how we can get this thing through. Until she came up, you and her came up with motivation. I begin to see the DG as somebody who is not only re-engineering the cultural sector, but she's carrying the burden of trying to tell them the path to which they can enhance the values of our enviable culture, Africa in general and Nigeria in particular. Send back our message to her that we appreciate her a lot. And for that, the only thing we have for her is that we pray God to extend our great life span. As God is also celebrating our own lifespan, that should also be for you too. Our guest lecturer, like I said, I can't thank you enough. You were there before today. You were there from 5 months ago. And it looks like you lost hope. Today you are here, you will take care of our home. Honorable, well, thank you. I'm still good honorable He was there to organize one program which we said African concept of fatherhood in nation building. Yes, he was there to send the representative. So I honor you and I honor him. You have a lot to give at the end of your service. You will carry everything a long way to the point where they will achieve their goals and aspirations. And to my students, learn well so that you enhance yourself, because there's no thing that can develop a man more than education. You use education to improve yourself and improve your nation. So may God lead you well in your academics and your pursuit for education. Thank you very much, and I thank the teachers who also brought them here. Send back word to your principals and tell them I appreciate them. And for the why would I call you outsiders? Some of you are, you are not outsiders, you are insiders. You are part of us. But wherever you came from, I will say, I thank you for the time you sacrificed to be with us from the beginning of this program to this moment.
I need you to know that the zonal office is in charge of Edo State, Delta, and Kogi State. And I will want to quickly add, by the permission of the head of zone, that the schools here present today are Jidan group of schools. I don't know if I'm correct by that pronunciation, UPSS and Federal Staff School. As well, I want to acknowledge the presence and the performance of the Edo Arts Council. You are all welcome, and thank you very much. And for the head of zone, sir, I also want to tell you that, so much as you appreciate your staff, I want to say on behalf of the entire staff of NCAC and National Office, we quite appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. So we will rise up for the national anthem.